And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon, friends and traders. Welcome to the Founder Q&A. I'm Dan Hodgman, sitting down with founder of Topstep, Michael Patak. Michael, how are you?
Hey, Danny, what is happening?
Not a whole lot. So we've got some big, exciting news. I'm pretty excited to be sitting down today. We are going to dive into Topstep news and everything going on there shortly, but we have some other exciting stuff that's related to the Topstep world. First off, a certain someone just made it into the newspaper first, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
First time in the sports section in the Aspen Times, yes.
And you got a par on a par three.
I did not get a par on a par three. I was playing two balls, two scores. My second ball that I was playing was a hole in one. So I did a hole in one. I know, thank you. And I had a witness, and I told the witness I'm playing two balls. He's like, "There's nothing wrong with that. You keep scoring for two." I'm like, "Yes." This is a par three. Yeah, I know it's only 93 yards, but still from the tee box, aced it. Felt really good. And I think the next day I played the same hole and I got a 6 on it. So
it balances out nicely right there.
They wrote about it though. Got it, the sports section, the Aspen Times. I haven't been in the sports section since barely high school.
Well, I'm sure you were in there a little bit. You were a Division I football player. So you got a little athleticism in the blood.
When they put the roster together for Iowa State, yeah, they put it in the paper, and then I think I quit the next semester. So I got my day with the roster, the Aspen Times. So that's another one.
Well, first off, congratulations on the hole in one, but we do have bigger news for you. You just had your third in 3 years, Poppy Patak. Congratulations on that. You finally got yourself a daughter.
I had myself a daughter. I did 2 boys and then said, all right, let's go for 3. She talks me into it. And now I'm officially I'm retiring from the game of having children. Now I got to raise them.
Well, congratulations. That's the real exciting stuff. So from everyone at Topstep, congratulations. I'm sure everyone else watching says congratulations.
Thank you. As you can tell, bags under my eyes, no sleep, all I can. It's great. Feels like my rookie year trading and wanting to be in front of the screen for 24 hours a day, which you shouldn't be doing.
No. I mean, I can't imagine. I've raised a puppy, and that was exhausting. Doing 3 kids under 3, that's got to be a lot of work.
You know what? I actually said to a guy that has I think he has 2 kids. Before I had a kid, I go, well, I have a dog. I go, I've raised 2 dogs before in my life. And he looks at me, he's like, there's nothing like a dog. But I mean, you got to train them, and they're crawling and before they're walking. I don't know. I mean, you got to feed them.
Either way, it's a lot.
Can't leave them. But it's a big difference. The dog, the longer you're away, I've always heard, the longer you're away from your house, the happy they are when you come home. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I can walk out of my house for about 5 minutes, and my dog's just as excited to see me 5 minutes later as he is 5 hours later.
Mm-hmm. You got a cool dog too. Really good dog.
I got a good one. Sound asleep right now over on the couch. Mm-hmm. It is his house. I just live in it. It's his world. I'm just trying to walk around him. Awesome. Well, let's dive into a little bit of Topstep stuff. I think first and foremost, seems to be a common theme. A lot of questions out there right now around the bigger swing account that we have kind of talked about. I believe we talked about it a couple of weeks back when we did our last Q&A. If you want to just touch on that a little bit.
About the coming out of the bigger swing accounts. Yeah, we're working on that, and it's exciting. I'm excited to see them because I like trading micros. You can scale in, you can scale out. I'm not a big fan of trading the big minis with scaling in, especially if it's a losing position. I've always said winners add to winners, losers add to losers. But with micros, you can play the game just a little bit differently and scale in and scale out. in a way that makes trading a little bit not so carve it up right on the turn. So you can get those turns, the market goes a turn, you can get in, and then come around. And maybe you're in, and it's a one lot big. So I love them. We're excited about it. We're going to be coming out with a bigger swing trading combine, a bigger micro combine, just more exciting offerings is down the road very soon too.
Absolutely. Make sure you subscribe to our emails. If you're not, just email support@topstep.com. They'll get you hooked up there. Also, if you do have questions throughout this Q&A, drop them in the comments. Whatever it's related, people will be answering within the comments. We will also be answering them here live. So make sure you guys drop those in. I want to make sure we're getting to everything here today. So first off, we're going to start with some of the questions that came in. We got some really great questions submitted from everyone. So thank you for that. First and foremost, I love the first question we're going to touch on here, Michael. And it's, what is a normal profit one should take? I've been up 700 and I end up going negative for not locking in those profits. If I have a funded account and draw down, if we take a few days to rest, will we lose our accounts? We got a double question there. So the first question is, what's a reasonable profit target for someone to make?
Well, for one, you said you're making, or you're up 700 and you lost it all. 700 is a great day. Now, if you think 7 times 5, what's that? 3,500 in a week, 150, one something a year, or 150 plus a year, 150,000 plus a year is if you were averaging $700 a day. So to give all that back, what were you looking for? Were you looking for $5,000 in a day, 2,000? If it's 2,000 in a day, it's 10,000. Now you're $500,000. So I always like to put myself in like, where am I trying to aim for? And I think when I first started trading, my dad said, put a number on it. You graduated from college. You should be making at least $60,000 or $70,000 a year trading. I didn't have a number on it. I was just like, I'm going to go out there and just trade. So if you're going to be up $700, you need to cut, you need to keep at least half that. At least a half of that. Well, a lot of our performance coaches will always say that. That's 350. And you can give yourself a couple more trades. Now, if you're really disciplined, you can end on a high note, go take the dog for a walk. Danny will let you borrow his dog, or you can watch my kids. It's something to do as well. But find something to do so you keep that money in your pocket. So $700 a day, I'd keep that. So what profit target? Find out what your strategy has that's still left in the market for the day. If there's nothing left in the market that day for your strategy, remember, you're just not trying to trade for the sake of trading. You're here to make money. Then it's up to you. So that is a personal journey question on you, but I'm going to tell you a tip is keep that money in your pocket, end on the high water mark, or at least keep half. When I'm over $500, I at least like to keep half. If it's $100, no, I'm not trying to keep half. I'm trading. It's kind of like a rough scratch day. So that's what I see, and that's what I always like to trade with.
Absolutely. That's great. And one thing to add to that too, something you can kind of do to help yourself if you are in the program within the combine, you can take a look at all your average high days, right? You get an understanding. It'll tell you average winning day. Those are really good metrics to use. For me, I like to look at where my average winning days are. Yep. We have a lot of back testing. We've all been at this for a pretty long time. You start to get an idea of where things start to change in my trading. And if you started to get an idea of where that average high day is, really, once you hit that average high, that's when that 50% rule clicks in. Yep. Like Michael said, you don't want to do it right away. You want to give yourself room. If you're up 100 and down 100 and you're trading something like the NASDAQ, where you can watch that $100 go this, you go up 100, down 100 in a blink of an eye. So make sure you are trying to lock some of that in.
Remember, that wasn't a 50%. That was a personal rule that you could put on yourself of taking half that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or keeping half that, keep it in your pocket is what we call it.
Yeah. And then there was a follow-up to this. I just want to make sure we touch on this. If you take a few days off, will we lose our funded account? No, that's not the case. If you are taking an extended period of time off, always reach out to our funding team, whether it's Mick and the risk manager or Matt and Tim. Make sure you guys are reaching out to them, just letting them know you're going to be stepping away for a little bit.
Great.
Awesome. So next question we got here for you, Michael. This one I love. It's kind of related to what we just talked about. But I like the terminology used here. How do I kill the devil in me? Example, I'm up $500, and then down minus 700, then again over 600, and taking the account to the daily loss limit. Can you guys build a taser? But how do you kill the devil? I think that's a great question to start.
That's where the discipline of the game all comes in, because you have I know I do when I'm trading. You have the subconscious or the voice that every talks to you a little bit. Says, that looks like a good trade. You should take it. But it's your perception. You're perceiving things that may not exist. Is it part of your strategy? Fine, then take it. But if you're just trading again and you're having these massive swings, that day is both giving and taking from you. It's recognizing that day and knowing what to do with it. And that could be ending on a high water mark. That could be saying, all right, I was up 600. Now I'm down to almost hit my loss limit. Now I'm back to scratch. All right, it's noon. It's New York noon. It's quiet. The window of opportunity just closed. Go walk Danny's dog or watch my kids. Just take a break. And that's what again, this is discipline. It's a game of discipline. It's a game of emotional management. And it's also a game of physical and mental, like strain. Like you literally sitting in a chair, watching things, you'll get tired and go for a walk, get out of there. So those swings are definitely something that every trader needs to handle, understand and know how to handle and manage. So my best advice for that one is step away, dilute the value of the FOMO, dilute the value of all that kind of stuff, and increase the strength of patience, and look for those high probability shots when you come back in the market if they align with your trading strategy. Just don't trade for the sake of trading, and don't trade just because I got to be 1,000. Or if the day doesn't give you 1,000, or if the window of opportunity again closes. So
I like the terminology there, dilute the value of something. I think that's really important. Make sure you guys kind of take note there. Really, when you are swinging, you'll start to recognize there are points where you go from, we've talked about this idea of tilt, and tilt is like a frightening terminology. Typically when you hear tilt, it's like, oh, I'm losing my account instantly. Well, there are other pieces of tilt, right? You start to bury the account a little bit. You're putting yourself losses that are greater than your winning days and things of that nature. And when you can kind of start to figure out where that is, I know a lot of people, it's that 3 losers in a row. You hit the 3 losers in a row, flip the switch flips, get the hell away.
I had that. After 3 losers, I go take a break, whether it's just go grab a coffee, which trading with coffee gives you a little speed to, but like just step away and just go take a little walk and then come back, your head's clear. And then, so that's definitely something I practice.
Absolutely. All right. We got some questions coming in the chat here. First off, one of the big ones is, Michael, can you kind of just explain what's going on with the withdrawal policy and what this new withdrawal policy is for our funded traders?
Yeah, actually, it's been well received. We had a lot of questions at the beginning. What is this? Why are you doing this? Everything at Topstep focused on performers getting paid, performers advancing, performers earning, and putting up 5 winning days in a row. $10, $100, whatever winning day is.
Not in a row.
Sorry,
to clarify. Total.
Yes, total.
You can't have losers. That's okay.
Yeah, you can have. So make today, make money today, lose tomorrow, make money, all the way to where you have accumulated 5 winning days. You're eligible to withdraw 50% of that. Why don't we let you withdraw 100? Well, you can withdraw 100, but that's closing up your account. And the 50% is basically our way of helping you manage your account balance. Why is that important? Because we see people take almost down to where if you had a call, hey, I'll take a withdrawal. Say you have 10 grand. I'll take a withdrawal for 8,000. That's great. But you're trading tomorrow and then you have a $1,000 like loss limit. You hit that and you hit it, or you don't hit it. 999 the next day, 900. I mean, you're out. So you got to weather the cold. So take half is our push on that one to make to have, I should say, the withdrawal policy, but to be eligible for withdrawal policy, accumulate 5 winning days.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about growing these accounts. I mean, we all want to be around for a long time. At Topstep, we have, I think it's even on like the very first shirt I've ever gotten from Topstep. It says always trade for tomorrow, right? And if we're taking out big withdrawals, we're putting ourselves in a difficult spot. If you come in and you've got that 2,000 of that 10,000 left, you've taken 8 out. Well, you put yourself in a psychologically really difficult spot. You got used to trading with that 8,000, the 9,000, the 10,000, and then all of a sudden you're down to 2. That 2 can go really fast. And we don't want to see that. We want to see people last.
You don't want to see that. Yeah. You work too hard to get to this position. So again, we're helping people professionalize their passion. Their passion is trading. We want you to be a trader. We want you to be a professional trader. If you earn that funded account, you're on a prop account, and that's a professional trading account. So build that account, pull it, build account, pull it, but only pull half of it. You want to quit, you want to hang it up. You can pull 100, you can pull it all out.
Awesome. All right, Mike, we'll talk about your trading a little bit here. What's your favorite time of the day to trade? I think you and I are pretty much on the same page. We're on the phone, probably come right before open until we're both done for the day.
Yep. Open first 2 hours, always very, very good. Now the right away open, let those like market on open orders or whatever's coming in right at the 9:30 New York, 8:30 Chicago, 7:30 here in Colorado, and let those orders digest. Maybe start looking at it a couple minutes after. We'll look at it, but start looking at your getting into the market after they kind of digest stuff. And remember the 9 o'clock number or top of the hour number right after it opens is always sometimes there's big numbers or releases. So, but the first 2 hours, Danny, you know that at least.
I think every day Michael and I are both sitting there. Okay, market opened. All right, let's wait our 90 seconds. Let's wait for that initial move to happen before we can both do something. So every single morning we're talking through those same things. Speaking of your trading, we've got some other questions to kind of talk about your trading that I think are pretty nice. And this one I really like because this is tough. Just wondering how you dealt with drawdowns early in your trading career and versus how you deal with them now.
Okay. Dealing with drawdowns. Well, dealing with them now is a little bit, it's all about discipline. It's all about shutting yourself down. Before I didn't shut myself down. What shutting myself down was the account being disabled, or prior to that was $30,000 trading accounts, literally not being able to trade because I burned that account all the way down. So stopping during the day was tough back then. You know, it was, I didn't have discipline. I was shooting from the hip a lot of the times. Yeah, I'd have a strategy, but you'd either be up a bunch of money and then you kind of throw that out the window because I'm just going to put a couple more on, or you'd be down a lot and you're like, I got to make something back. And then you'd lose double that. And then you'd trade and say, oh, what's another double that? And then you do it again. And that's called blowing out. So knowing when to stop is a big, big foundational piece of trading to learn, develop, hone. It is discipline. It is FOMO and patience and over trading and controlling all those things. You know, you're going to feel it, but you control your behaviors. That's one thing you can do. You can manage your emotions, but you can control your behaviors. So the sitting on your hands and things like that. I mean, that's a tough one, but it's discipline. That's the foundation of being good at it.
It is.
And now I can take Danny's dog for a walk or take my kids, my kids or switch gears and do some Topstep stuff or work with traders at Topstep. And that just makes it so much easier because that also brings me to the point. If you have something else to do, it makes it a little bit easier. So definitely have something else to do, call it a hobby, bike ride or whatever, and golf and go to par 3. It's cheap and you can walk it. Those are the things. Have something else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like the longer you're at this and the more you're involved, the more you start to recognize. I think when I first went from pit trading to screen trading, I just kept seeing the market moving and my mentality was, oh, the markets are moving, therefore there's action. And I have to kind of step back because if you remember, you go on the pits, market's still moving. There's always something happening. But if you think about where the pit action was, like it would come in spurts and you'd start to recognize, oh, now there's trades. So you got to really it takes a while to understand order flow, that price action, watching how that market's moving. We talked about it today, just off a little bit ago, this idea of the heartbeat, understanding that heartbeat, where that movement's going to come and recognize that sometimes just because it's moving doesn't mean there's action. So you got to really pay attention where that opportunity is. And sometimes the biggest opportunity in the day is to do absolutely nothing.
Correct. That is trading, Danny. That's trading. Not trading is trading. Sorry to do this, but not trading is trading. It's all part of your trading process. It's all part of your trade routine, which reminds me, Coach T will help you prep, trade, and reflect each trading day. So definitely be using Coach T for all those folks out there that do not know it's there. It is there to help you build a trading routine.
Absolutely. And there's a lot more coming with Coach T. So keep an eye on that one. I think so far everyone's really enjoying that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's an interesting one. In your YouTube ad, you said you want to help traders learn to avoid mistakes in trading that you experience, but it doesn't seem that your company actually teaches anyone how to trade or just avoiding breaking rules. Do you have any plans to actually teach around the trading methods?
We talk a lot about different strategies. We're going to be talking, cool stuff is the content that we're coming out in the future is going to be talking about habits and strategies and things like that we see that is successful. Now, just remember, you could have a strategy and all that, but if you don't follow your strategy rules, these rules are risk rules. If you don't have these risk rules, then there will be blowouts all over the place from traders just trading with no rules, no downside care, and then blowing up. So all these rules is basic risk management rules. Don't lose over $1,000 in a day. If your strategy is not working for today, stop yourself, because your strategy is still there. You're the one who has to control your behaviors. Stop yourself at $999 if that's what you want to do. That's going to help you build your discipline. So the rules are there to help you have the foundational piece of risk management. And then you got to build a strategy on top of that. And you're right. We're going to be coming out with more content on strategies. We're going to be talking about what's successful for funded traders that we see, even what's not successful and whatnot. So we'll have more on that. But Danny, you probably have some from Coach's Playbook and other resources on the resource page that we have.
There's quite a bit of resources out there every single day, Monday through Friday. John Hoagland, I think 36, 37, 38 years of futures industry experience. He is live for a half hour every single morning. Talking about levels, what to look for in the market, areas to look for opportunities. So there's a lot of education there. I'm on every day at 3 p.m. I don't have quite that long. I got about 15, 16 years in the industry. I'm looking back, I'm showing you where trade strategies that I use on a daily basis. The number one every single day, we look at it and we go, all right, was the closing the gap to settlement price trade? Was it available today? And we look at it, we show what our risk was versus what the reward is. So we do break down one simple, specific strategy every day. Also, right now, if you're not tuned into it or if you're not signed up, you can still sign up. We have Futures 101 classes through 401 classes with Hoag.
The professor, like a university 101, 201, 301. It gets progressively like what is futures.
I believe we're in 201 right now.
Okay, cool.
And you can check that out. Yeah, make sure you go sign in there. We have that going on. We got Coach's Playbook every single week. We have weekly group coachings. You can schedule calls with Eddie Horn here at Topstep. He will work with you. If you're on the funded accounts, you've got risk managers to reach out to. So I'd like to think we've got quite a bit of education. And on top of that, our Topstep blog. Yeah, you only get what you put into this. So just like any profession, you get what you put into it. So the more you put into it, hey, I'm reading up on this, I'm going to reach out and talk to, or I'm going to join this group coaching. That's here. It's complimentary and it's definitely robust and I should say high quality and very educational stuff. Take what you will, and it's up to you to dissect what you want to do and bring it into your own trading journey. Awesome. Thank you, Michael. The next one we got here. How do you deal with the overnight moves and things like commodities? Do you set up stops for overnight?
Ooh, I don't really trade overnight. Really thin. It can get pushed around a little bit too easy than the day. Again, to each its own. If you have a day job and you like to trade nights, you can get used to trading nights. I see it all the time. But just like if you're trading all night, all day, you will go what I heard people call mush brain, where you kind of lose everything, but and you start perceiving different things. So I like that window. I talked to you guys about the window. Find your window. If your window's overnight, then you would know how to trade the overnight session probably a little bit better than but I know that it's thin, and I know that moves can get exaggerated or slippage can happen. If you're in the NASDAQ, it could slip and hit your stop pretty easily. Not as easily during the day as there is. So just be careful on night trades. But if it's your style of trade, then you're going to figure that out. Again, it's thin.
Absolutely. I mean, I traded night overnight for a long time. I did a lot with it. It is tough. Moves, when they do happen, they kind of hit you fast and hard, unexpected. As a treasuries trader, we used to have to sit there on the Asian Open every single night because there were big moves then. But then it falls into a really, really tight channel, and it's tough to trade that. So there are other products out there you can trade if you can't trade the regular trading hours, US based. Remember, this is CME products. CME is a US based company, Chicago, dead center of the country. That's when the volume tends to come in. So if you can't trade those hours, there are some out there you still can. Yep. Things like the Nikkei. that one's moving. You've got things like the yen, crude oil trades really heavy.
Those are moving, right? The euro and whatnot. Yeah, it depends on what time. What depends on what your night is. If your night's at the open, the nightly open, I mean, that's rough because nothing's really open yet, Asia or Europe. So when Asia starts opening up at what time? 7, 8, or 9?
In that range. Depends on, it depends.
I don't trade nights.
They don't have time changes.
I watch them.
Yeah. Yeah. I one of the biggest things and the best things I've done for myself in the trading life I've kind of lived has been actually stop touching things in the overnight session. I sleep better. I feel better in the morning. I get to focus on myself. I get to deviate, right? I think that's one of the biggest things people talk about is they get into trading because they want to create this freedom to do whatever they want, to be kind of their own boss. And then all of a sudden, these computer and the monitor and the markets become this ball and chain and you're afraid to step away from it. Well, give yourself a chance, step away. There used to be
I keep an eye on it. But I mean, I'm not sitting there with the charts all open middle of the night or anything like that. I'll look at an app and, financial market app that I use and see the foreign markets, see European markets and see what the futures are on that app. But I'm not jumping on the platform until early in the morning.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest lessons was there used to be kind of a running joke. On the start of every year, they would make a bet on how many days my dad was actually going to take off of work. He loved his vacation time. He was pretty big on not letting the markets become a ball and chain. And I think he was pretty good at this job. So if I look at that, and
very well-known guy in the trading arena.
Yeah, he was pretty good at it. So we got a few more questions. We're going to probably go for another 10 minutes or so. So if you have questions, make sure you drop them in the comments. If we don't get to them, I just want to be clear, if we don't get to them, you can always jump in on any of our live streams. Like I said, 8 a.m. Central Time and 3 p.m. Central Time every day. One of us are on here. You can always join us there, and we make sure we touch on every question. So if we don't get to them today, make sure you join us there. Or you can always reach out to support at topstep.com or 888-407-1611 is our phone number. We are open 6 days a week there to take phone calls. I like this. Someone just posted here. What was your stop loss when you first started trading versus when you were more experienced? And this is the indices. You were a YM trader when you first started.
Hold on. When I first started trading, I didn't have a stop. There was no stop. Stopping was a couple of times where I about threw up because it was just like I was down like 1,000 and now I'm down 4 and now I'm down and then I was down 4 and now I'm down 9. Like that's how I blew out. I didn't have stops. And then I went to the prop firm and they pretty much said loss limits and stops. You're watching your downside. You're just repeated that always. And then that's where things kind of changed around. So what would be now the stops now? I mean, probably if I'm not seeing it with $1,000, like that's enough losing trades. Like after 3 losing trades in a row, if that equals out to be 1,000 or pretty much my loss limit is around that because I think that's comfortable because you can come back from $1,000 day, no problem. But you start having $5,000 loss limit days or stops around that, you got to put up $5,000. Maybe not the next day, but if the next day is 3, then now you're at 8. Now you have 2 days. So that's 4 and 4. Like you got to think about your average and go back to what Danny said. Look at your average, and there you go. If you're averaging $500 good days, then maybe your loss limit should only be about $800 to $1,000, dollars. So like not 800,000, but 800 to 1,000. And it helps you stop, call it a day. Remember, this is an opportunity making machine. The markets are. So the next day you can come back and you can make up that $1,000 loss day. Fairly high probability wise you can do. So I work in the probability and thinking, and I work in averages too. And we have all those on the trade report.
Yeah, I think things change for me pretty quickly because you go from prop to retail side. Yeah, in the prop, it's a whole different. And then you get to the retail, and then all of a sudden you have to kind of relearn some things. I look at it I just look at it based off of how many contracts I'm trading. I can't really do a hard dollar value. Everything's going to be different every trade and every day.
Thank you. I should have said that.
But yeah, there are hard stops where you got to say, I'm not losing more than $1,000 a contract in a day, or I'm not losing this much. Yeah.
Yeah, 1s and 2 lots, maybe that's for $500 to $1,000. But if you're trading bigger size, that's why the bigger combines, the 100 and the 150. Then yeah, you can because you're trading a little bit bigger, so you're gonna have bigger swings. So just I guess I should have said it. What size are you typically trading?
Awesome. Now just a couple product related things. Michael, any chance we're gonna be adding more micros to the swing account?
Yes, yes. We are talking about crude. We are talking about gold.
Watching Bitcoin, I will say it is not ready yet. It's just not there. Huge spread.
But why, Danny? But why is it not ready yet?
It's way too much of a spread on the bid and offer. So when you start to look at a market and they are not one tick off on bid and offer, you start to see 6 or 8 ticks. It's almost like you're already in a deficit the second you get a fill, and that's really difficult to trade out.
Or you get triggered on your stop super easy. Again, thin markets with wide spreads, you're getting slippage. 2 things that you get: slippage, and you get your stops easily triggered, and you don't get that great of entries anyway. So liquid market. So micro Bitcoin probably not yet. Crude oil looks good, and so does gold.
Absolutely. We're always looking at new products. So if you do have any requests or certain products you think should be added, again, you can just email us into support@topstep.com.
Yep.
Any chance we'll ever add a futures or a swing account for, the question is for futures, not just micros. Well, micros are futures. But any chance we'll add a swing account for standard E-mini futures?
We want to separate that. Why? Because there's a different style of trade and trader that likes to hold positions, aka swing, aka overnight trader. And you want to have a little bit lower risk product. You can scale into that. Again, we can go back to the scaling concept. So you don't have this hard entry with a big product that has a big tick size. And then next thing you know, you get stopped out really easily because again, it's thin, it's overnight, and you want to hold overnight because it sounds like you want to be a swing trader or overnight trader. I enjoy doing that, but you can do you can go with micros. So we're looking at micros. And so my answer to that long-winded answer is no, we're not looking to do it with the bigger product at this time. We are looking to do it with the micros, and you can scale into those.
Absolutely. And as we said, there is a bigger swing account that is on the horizon. So it'll
feel like what we have.
It should be
but
much
in a
more
micro
fun for you.
Trade big, but with micros.
Is there any possibility of just a larger trading combine in the future?
Yeah, well, we're looking at that one. We're focusing on the swing now, which will be definitely a larger swing, and then we're going to build from probably what our learnings are there and what direction we want to go to help traders that are looking for either greater risk or larger account, or pretty much those 2 things in a better opportunity than what we offer. So we'll always listen to that stuff, that feedback.
Awesome. And we got a couple of questions about other combines. One of them being trading the Eurex in the combine, also just an equities combine, something I think like a Dow 30 style combine. What are your thoughts there?
I like it. We're futures focused and FX focused. We need to get some improvements going on our FX product, which is great. We know what we need to do there to help traders and put them in a better spot on the funded accounts, professionally, getting withdrawals, all that kind of stuff. So we want to work on that to give. That's on the FX side. But as far as stocks, yeah, we looked at that too. I think without reinventing the combine wheel, we would put that product within one of the parameters that we have. So that's something that we've talked about. But again, we're focusing on futures, which is majority of the people we have. And futures to me is the most fun product, or asset class, I should say, to trade. So we're focusing on that one right now. The futures swing bigger and a little bit bigger there. And we have FX. But as far as the stocks, we have it definitely on the roadmap. It's just a little bit below those.
Awesome. Thanks for clarifying. And one thing to add too, when you get to the funded account, you can reach out to our risk manager and talk about some of these other exchanges. There is some possibility there. We just don't have them in the combine at the moment. Another common question we've had over the last few Q&As, we have touched on this, request for Sierra charts to be brought back. I know we've talked about it. I want to make sure everyone knows it is on our list. We are looking at that. It was in our data feed, then they pulled it from our data feed, then they added it back in. It's been a tough one. So it is on our list and we are keeping an eye there.
Yep. We're waiting on them.
Awesome. All right, Michael, one last question and we'll let you get out of here. I know you got to get to all those kids you got waiting for you at home. I'm sure your wife's ready for a break.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great question. I think one of the biggest things in trading is trying to see where you stand and understanding where you're at in the trading level compared to other people, which I don't think is really important. I think you got to focus on yourself, but I want to
call it a personal journey.
I want to ask you this question. It is my favorite question that's come in. What is the average time to complete the number of steps that you see across traders? Also, what is the typical drawdown or P&L curve? I wonder if I'm trading too small. I'm at $500 up after just 3 weeks.
I mean, we've had people do the FX combine in like a couple days, right? We've had swing trading, the ones that don't have the daily, but we have the daily 5 minimum days in step 1 and 10 in step 2. So 15, some people start at step 2 if they go back for anything. So 10 days is the quickest that you can get funded. And we need to have that data. We need to see that you can manage a position, grow the position, and then if it's builds your account up, maintain it or continue building it, of course, depending on where you're at. But yeah, I've seen very, very short amount of time from days to on average 10 that I see. Well, yeah, probably a little bit higher if you consider the 5 and the 10. I don't have the exact date on me, but I know that's about it.
Yeah, we have some traders. I actually just looked at an account today. It was 4.5 or 5 months to get through step 1 of the 50K account. Everyone is, like Michael said, it's a personal journey. Take your time. Don't compare yourself to other people.
And a lot of times you're rushing it.
Exactly. A lot of times I get asked if I can share what my P&Ls are. And I don't think it's not fair to other people. I'm doing things a little bit differently. I've been at this a little bit longer. I trade in my own accounts. Things are a little bit different. So comparing yourself to another person, that doesn't work.
It doesn't work. What if I said what if I say I like to make $200 a day? That's my profit. You're like, what? Why would you don't trade that big? What if I said I make 20 grand in a day and that's my profit? Like, what are you going to do with that information? Is it now you're going to be somewhere in between, or have you not, got to a point where you're even profitable? So like, it's your own journey. Look at your journey and then focus on what you need to work on. Risk management, discipline, the foundation, the discipline, the risk management, managing your emotions, controlling your behaviors, honing your skills, and honing your bad habits, FOMO and over trading and trading on tilt. Danny talked about trading on tilt. Those are all things you got to work on. Once you do that, you're going to find your wheelhouse, your swim lane of how much you are comfortable making.
Yeah, everyone's different. There are going to be some traders that can go out there and they can do this year over year, making hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s, if not into the millions. And there are some traders that are unbelievably phenomenal, successful traders that are averaging 50 or 60 grand a year. Everyone's going to be totally different. That guy, just because he's so successful at 60, he might have a level that gets to a point where I can't manage the risk when I get to 100, or I'm trying to stretch too much. I find that my lane is a certain number. So everyone's totally different. You can't comparing yourself to other people. At the end of the day, take your time, trade your strategy. You should
compare yourself to yourself is what I would think is compare yourself. Not what I think, what I did. I talked to you about having like a $70,000 goal that my dad put on me. Before that, I was trying to make, I'm like, what is my average right now? Well, my average is like, I need to make 70 grand a year. I'm like, I need to average about 100 and whatever it was a day on average. I'm like, I can do that.
That's not that bad.
Yeah. Before I was like, I wanted to make $2 grand. I want to make $1 million. I want to make $1 million this year. And then to do the backwards math, you're not really doing it because it becomes an average. Everything, the more you trade, you have a pattern. So look back and you say, hey, I haven't made any money. Well, I guess your average needs to be focused on zero, scratch. You should be focusing on an average of breaking even, because that is where you need to go. If you can't even build up your account, you just need to focus on, could I trade my account for 30 days and not and break even or better? And I would just focus on break even. If you could do that, then you're over one big hurdle. So again,
absolutely
look at yourself in the mirror, and your mirror is your history.
Right. And just for perspective, if you're averaging $100 winning days, that's what your average day is, up $100.
25 grand a year.
Exactly. That's a ton of money. And you can grow that exponentially over time. You move it to 200, all of a sudden you're doubling your salary. And I think the biggest thing that we all have to recognize is when you get into trading, I think there's a glorification of like, I'm going to make it. This is my new career. Recognize how long you've been at your last career and how you kind of grew over that, 6, 8, 12% raise per year. And, you worked your way to those numbers, and it took time. It takes an effort. Trading's probably going to get you there quicker, but don't rush into it. Take your time. The first step,
it'll be more mentally taxing than anything you probably do. Probably, yeah. If you think about the regular workforce.
But if you focus on that consistency, if you can just be a scratch trader for a year, you're better than 90% of the traders in the world. You are crushing it.
So if you do put up, again, if you have an average, if you're not growing your account personally, at Topstep or anything like that, focus on breaking even. Well, I have a recurring subscription. Okay, if you even went into the market with your own capital and you're going to rush it like that, you're going to lose a lot more than $99. I'll tell you that for sure. So that little reset or recurring shouldn't really bother you. It's building that foundation. Can I be a scratch trader for a month? Okay, cool. You're invested your time, you put it in there, and you met a goal. And then the next month, can I do it again? Okay, the next month, let's try to average $100 a day. Now you're averaging $100 a day and you're building your account up and you're doing that multiple months. You're like, I'm on track to do 25 grand this year. I drive my Uber during the day and I trade at night. I'm on track to do 25 grand. I make like 60 with the Uber. I'm at 80. So like this all is great, but it's now you start getting behind. Now you're not doing $100 a day anymore and you've been averaging zero. Well, you're not going to be putting up that 25 grand at the end of the year. And I'm using this because you could add a zero onto it. It depends on where you are as a trader, and that's the personal journey. So find out where you are. If you're unsuccessful or you haven't built an account, that's okay. Focus on breaking even. Focus on the scratch game. If you are building an account, and you're like, how do I get myself to the next level? Just move your average up. I remember my average, I got it moved up, and it was like, I told you I wanted to do an average of like $150 a day. I ended up moving that to like 1,000 to 1,500. And I'm like, I know I can go to work each trading day. And on average, I can pull out $1,000 a day on average. I knew that because over time you start to do that. And that's again, 5,000. I was a 6-figure a year trader. So yeah, it's 250 grand at least a year. And that's $1,000 a day average. So that's how I look at this. That's how we try to look at when you try to reach a profit target. If it's $3,000 on a 50K, and there's 20 days in a month, well, you shouldn't have to say, oh, I got to make that a month. No. What if you're only doing $100 a day? Then it's going to take you 30 at least. That's every day, but it's going to take you 60 trading days to get to that. That is totally fine. There's your 3 months. Now you're in the game. Now you're trading a professional account and with real capital. So that's the mindset of every trader I know kind of thinks in that way. And that's kind of how you almost back into your good years.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Michael, thank you for sitting down. One note here, just so everyone knows, these are not scammers in the chat here. Those names under tops with the Topstep icons. That is Jack and Mick. You've seen them, you know them. You've probably even talked to them at some point. That is them answering some of the questions, helping Michael and I out, making sure we're getting on everything. If we did not get your questions today, like I said, we are here each and every day, 8 a.m. Central Time and 3 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you bring your questions there. You can email into support@topstep.com, or you can always call in 888-407-1611. That is our support line. Thank you for joining us. Michael, thank you for sitting down with me today. Really appreciate this. And we hope the best for the bigger family, the new little one added. And
you wish the best for Poppy, my daughter, and my golf game, right?
And your golf game. I get a little jealous that you hit a hole in one. I know I play probably 3 or 4 times the amount of golf you have this year. And I can honestly say I don't have any hole in ones in my storied career as a golfer, but maybe one of these days we'll catch up.
Well, the fact I was playing two balls, and I had a foursome in front of me, which is the reason why you're sitting there at a par 3, and the foursome saw it, and then they all started cheering, and that was fun. But that was called luck. I'd rather be good than lucky, because luck only happens a few times, and good happens a lot of the time, if not all the time, depending how dedicated of an individual you are to working on yourself. So
yeah, that luck brings on a 6 the next time you play that hole that you got.
Yep, I'm still in the lucky game. Trading, I'm in the good game, but golf is the lucky game.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Hogue will be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Time with the market forecast. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up, you can always get into the futures trading 101 through 401 classes. Those are going each and every day for the next couple of weeks. Also, every single Wednesday is John's weekly group coaching. Make sure you sign up for that. And again, join us on our forecasts and recaps, the Topstep blog, everything we can out there. Come subscribe here on YouTube. Make sure you turn on notifications so you know when we're going live, because we do jump in every so often, totally randomly. So Michael, thank you. To everyone out there, thank you very much. Like I said, John will be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Time. So until then, stay safe, wash your hands, trade smart, and trade well. We look forward to seeing you guys in the markets. Take care, everybody.
Take care.